Okay, so I've got a little story to tell about these poor babies. See if I can cut this light off. No. Okay, I'm trying to show you guys a little something. This is, see how clear it is right now? Let's see if I can get it from this side. Anyways, a disaster story, okay? We had company and something happened with me not putting my fish food away. And somebody decided to put a lot of fish food in there and filled it up with fish food. And it took me, they look okay though. Let's see. They've been kind of skimmish or squirmish, like, you know, lately. And I have no idea. Well, I know why. Okay, let me put this on because the light's making it weird. But I'm just going to turn it on so you can see that they're okay. See, there's Coral. There's Jaws and Steve Harvey, which they were going at each other for a minute there, but they're kind of friendly. But this tank was a mess. It was cloudy because somebody poured all the fish food in there, every single bit of it. And I meant to put it away because we had somebody over, family anyways. And I just didn't childproof it. And so they poured all the fish food in there, I'm telling you. I was like, oh no. And the only reason I came back here is because I was looking for the fish food for the orandas in the front. And so I just saw that this fish tank was cloudy. It was like so cloudy. I'm like, what in the world? And I just knew. I'm like, oh no. So I had to take the fish out. It's a good thing I have a tank set up on the side just in case there are babies, you know, out of here. So I set a tank up, or this one, I set it up for this one basically, for Jaws, because he had a timeout ready for him in case he cut up, because he was nipping at the other one and acting aggressive. So I had a timeout set up for him with the filter and everything, but he never had to go in there because he started behaving once I put him in this room, because I had him in the kitchen. And when I had him in the kitchen, it seemed like they were nervous because people were going in and out of the fridge, getting plates, and just like always in that area. And they're not used to it. They're used to being where the oranda are. But I had to switch places because the oranda wouldn't fit over there because it was too tall, their fish tank. So I had to end up putting these over there. And I said, oh no, you know, excuse me, they're acting too squirmish. And even when they come in my room, they act kind of scared. So I just be really careful with them. Sorry about that, guys. You have to be really careful with them because they're a little jittery because they moved. And they've been, when they first got here, they were in one area and they stayed there and I was feeding them and they were happy. They started learning to eat from my hands. It took them longer to eat from my hand than the oranda. Now, they have things to hide behind, so they hide behind this bush and they hide behind those things over there. So I'm glad they have places to hide so they feel like they're safe, because they do get nervous when I walk in here or anybody walks in here. And I think it comes from whenever, you know, the plates are put away, they're kind of loud, and you know, people are going back and forth in there, and they're just not used to that much traffic, because where they were, there wasn't as much traffic. I just sit there and watch them and feed them or whatever, or people would watch them from there. But anyways, they are doing okay. I just didn't feed them yesterday. I gave them a few peas because I'm telling you, they were probably eating a lot of that food. So they got enough food to last them for a whole 2 or 3 days. And I didn't give them much today. I just gave them a little bit of the peas again today. Yesterday and today. I gave them no flakes yet. So tomorrow is going to be the 3rd day, and I'm not even sure if I'm going to... I think they're all right. I'll give them a little bit of flakes. I'm not going to give them a lot. I'll just feed them real lightly. But they were acting hungry today. And actually, after I took them out of there, I had to take them out and put them in the temporary timeout. It's like a cheese ball. I had 2 of them. So I filled it up with their fish water. Not with theirs, but the Oranda fish water. I couldn't use this water because it was full of food. So I had to borrow some from my other fish established tank. I took some water out of there, and I kept their ornaments. I didn't really rinse them or anything. I just made sure there wasn't any fish food in there. And I put it back in there, and then I used some of the other fish food in there, fish water, and I used some fresh water too because it wasn't enough. I couldn't take all their water out and put it in here because then my other fish would go through a cycle. So I took like 4, like I normally clean it anyways. When I'm cleaning it, I take about 4 out of it and put fresh in the other one. So I did that, and I used 4 in here, and then I put the rest with the regular water. And it was kind of cloudy for a whole day, but then the next day, which was today, no, 2 days. It was Sunday, it was a little cloud. Let me see. Friday, actually Saturday was when they did it, so. No, Thursday is when it happened. So Friday, it was a whole Friday. It was kind of cloudy. It wasn't real cloudy. It was kind of cloudy. Because this is how I've been getting it, pretty good and clear-ish until time for it to be changed again. But it was pretty murky, and it had some white stuff on the back wall. So I had to clean that off. It still has a little bit on there. It's not as clear. I'll clean it up a little bit. Because they put some candy in there too. And I was like, are you kidding me? And, but these are pretty strong. It's a good thing that they were these that they did it to, because I think the Oranda are a little more fragile. But for some reason, my Oranda are not as fragile as they seem to say. But it's kind of warmer here in this part of California. So their water is not as cold as what they would hate. Like in the wintertime, I might have to put the heater on them, because they're not used to really cold water either, the Oranda. These, they did fine, because I did have one. It was kind of cold. They've been with me for a little while. But they seem to be okay so far. So good. And you see how Jaws is catching up with Steve. He used to be tiny. He's still the littlest one. But he's looking like almost like a twin to that one. You might think I'm weird, but I just noticed how their eyes move. I thought they just look straight out, and like how I think the birds do, they just can look sideways, but they could turn their eyes, and I think the birds too. It's just really amazing. If you really look at a fish close up, their eyes turn back and forth so they can spot you and see, is there food coming? They can see you this way. They can see you when they're start looking forward, because their eyes are going down. They can see different ways. But that's the story. I just wanted to let you know. We didn't get our movie night tonight because there's those firecrackers going crazy, and then the dogs, not our dogs, but, well, they're our dogs, but they're bigger dogs that live down the way. We're going crazy. And, those fireworks, those bombs that they're popping and carrying on, scare a lot of animals. So, I don't get it. And, You know, it's very unhealthy for the dogs. They get very nervous and scared. But anyways, we didn't do the movie night, and you know, they're just watching a couple of movies. I mean, shows instead of movies. But it looks pretty good, doesn't it, guys? After all that, it took a day, but they're pretty. I have a pretty good filter up there. See it back there? I think that's what saved it too, because that filter is pretty good. And when I checked it after that, I think I caught it quick enough too. But after it was pouring out, because one of the little ones, they wanted to feed the other goldfish. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to go get the food and bring it in here. And that's the only reason that I checked this one to, you know, come and get the food out of here, because I knew I left the food in here. And that's when I saw it was cloudy. I was like, what in the world? And then I saw, like, look down here. This was filled like a whole, you could barely see the rocks. You could barely see the glass rocks. It was all food. Just floated all the way to the bottom. And it was so weird, because once I got them into their temporary thing, they were still looking for food. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? It was so funny. I mean, it wasn't funny, because anything could have happened. And I'm still leery of, are they going to be okay? But I just didn't feed them again the next day. I just let them be without, and I gave them the peas, like a very sparse amount, so they wouldn't have too much to eat, because I'm sure they ate a lot of that food. They couldn't eat it all though. So I just gave them something in case they were going to try and get the swim bladder because of that food that they ate. But they have a better body that's made longer than the shorter body ones, so they could handle a little bit better. But I don't know. We'll just keep an eye on them, because if something does happen to them, that's what was wrong. That's what was wrong. They were overfed by a ton. Plus, they had some kind of candy with chocolate in it, M&M type things, because they were poured in there. Because I saw these little chunks of something. I'm like, what is that? After I was cleaning up like, are you kidding me? So that was in there too. But we got, we got it. I just worked on it. They were like, come on out here and join us. And, there was only a couple of people here, but they had the gender party. The gender, not party, but gender reveal. And I was like, I have to finish this fish tank, because that comes first. And I left 2 of them in one, and then like a big one and a small one, and then I left Coral by herself, because she's the biggest of all of them. So I left her in one by herself. And these are not really big things that I put them in, but I had a filter on both of them. And so I put them in there, and it took me about an hour, 2 hours to get all of it out and clean it, and then refill it. And I couldn't get my filter to work. It was acting weird, because I had the thing in there upside down, a certain thing that stirs it. So I was like, oh no, they're going to run out of oxygen. But they didn't, because you have to get it so high, the water, before it will start pumping the bubbles, or the filter too. But I finally got it going, and I'm telling you, I was not in the best mood. I was dizzy again. Like my ear was starting to be, I think I have some kind of ear thing going on, ear infection or something. And so I wasn't feeling the best. But I'm bending back down and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Mind you, earlier I made some things for the party, not party, but the little gathering for a few people and family. And I was making that, and it took everything for me to do it, because I was like dizzy. And so when I just said, well, I have to think of these fish, because they're my cheapest ones, but they're still living, you know what I mean? They're living creatures, and I like them because they're, you know, they're faithful. They like eat out of my hand, and this little one, he took forever to really get friendly with me. And then I knew how frightened they were. I'm like, oh no, I'm really killed them by now, because you know, they're gonna be really nervous when I put them in that other little thing, and that I'm coming back and forth, and they're scared, you know, like underneath the filter, because I have to pour the water in there, take rocks and rinse them out, and all this ruckus going on while they're in that little space. So they were probably like, oh man, what's this lady trying to do to me? But I put some stress coat in there. And believe me, if you ever want to get anything for fish, get the stress coat, because it's very healthy for them. It keeps them calmer. And then they were in the dark. You know, when I finished pouring water, I cut the light out, came out, back and forth, took a break. And then I finally got, because you got to be careful what you're doing too. You can't take all the water out and just rinse it out and then put fresh water in there, even with the stress coat, because then you're starting a whole new cycle. But it's a good thing I was close to the time to clean the other one, because it was actually time to clean it. No, it was like a day before, a couple days before, because I think I cleaned them late last time, like on a Monday or something. So it was like 4 days early. But still, I went ahead and took some of their water and made sure I used that. If I didn't have them, then I think these fish would be in some trouble doing something weird, because it would be too, you know, newly. Well, I don't know. We had all the old tank that had, it has little areas that you could tell it cycled and everything, but the water, you don't want to change all that water like that. So be aware, if something does happen, you try and keep the water. I couldn't keep their water because of all that food that was in there. It was just, it was uninhabitable for them. It was just soaked. The food was melted down in there like thick, like a whole floor of food. Because that container that I had with the food in it was more than halfway left. Because I had another one though, which was good. I had an extra one in there because I switched to the color enhancer, and I've been switching off with peas, and then I got the frozen shrimp, and I used the flakes. You know, I switch off different ones, so I had food left for them. But the one that they poured in there was like, that he poured in there was a whole half of, a little bit more than a half. And then I try to look at them to see if they got really humongous, but these fish are kind of like cautious, which is a good thing lately, you know. So they probably got nervous whenever he poured it in there, and wondering what in the world is going on. But you know what you could do too for a fish? Not that much food, but you can cycle a tank really quick by using food to overfeeding them. That's not the healthiest way to do it, and not the safest either, but I wasn't as much afraid of it because I thought, well, you know, as long as I can get it out quick enough. So, and I did that and got them out quick before they started trying to eat everything out of there, because these fish will eat. But I was really proud of them because they didn't try and eat at all. When I looked in here and saw them, they were like floating around and looking around like, what the heck is going on? Because they're not used to that. Like food floating all in the water. Weird. And they're probably like, what has happened? Because they've been in here and it's never looked like that. So, but that coral, she just looks like a little bigger. I think she probably ate more because she's a little more greedier. Her stomach looks a little bigger than the rest of them. So, but there they are, guys, and that's the story. So if anything does happen, I should have showed it. I said, well, why didn't I video it? I should have videoed what happened, because it was like, but I just was trying to hurry up and make a solution to the problem instead of recording it. But it would have took 2 seconds to record that. It was like, but I just like rushed to do what I needed to do to try and get them out of there and set them up in their other little place until I could get this thing filled up again, you know, cleaned out and filled up. And it was weird because the other one, it was like an old filter that I had. I try and keep that one in water in case something happens where I get another tank, or I get something like that happens, or something happens to the other tank and I gotta put them somewhere, or they have babies, you know. I just keep one in there with a good filter that has been used well. Their old filter is what it is, so they were fine because it was their old filter. Cause I just got a bigger one in there. The other one's a smaller one. But always have something set up just in case, you know, something like that happens, or, you know, I think that happened before, a little, like some years ago, to another fish that we had, and I changed all the water. I didn't think about being filtered or anything because I didn't really know that much about it, and it didn't do a very good result. So, but I just try and look on here and, you know, YouTube, and see what ideas I get from the fish hobbyists, so that way I can get better acquainted with what to do. When I just knew right away though to get them out of there, because you don't want to overdo it like that. And I saw them on time, hopefully, but we'll keep an eye on them, and I'll let you know. You know, we'll see if anything happens to them. But this is 2 days since this happened, and they seem to be okay so far. So I might have got them out on time. Even today, they're looking for food. I'm like, aren't you full? Did you eat? Maybe they didn't eat as much as what I thought either, because they get kind of nervous when, and that little boy was probably in here just being ruckus, you know, lift up. I don't know how he ended up lifting up this thing, because it's not, you know, like my other one is. This is like a little bit different. Oops, sorry guys. But anyways, so that's them. And guys, I made another video, and it is on that grill that we had. We barbecued and I cleaned it up. It's cleaning up pretty good. It's just that I think there's quite a bit of charcoal in there, and it's not supposed to put too much. And it is almost tried to ruin the bottom of it. So, you know, that one, I didn't watch what was going on. I just, you know, didn't worry about it because there was other people barbecuing you know, somebody else was barbecuing with the grill. But it turned out all right. It was really good, but I just think that there's a little bit too much charcoal in there, and it almost burnt the bottom through that cover, that protection. So check it out, guys, and see that delicious barbecue. All right, I have some more gender reveal, like a third part, so watch out for that one too. It'll show you how it was revealed. And I got some good news coming up. There's a couple other things coming up this week, so look for them after the weekend, and we'll talk to you later. Thank you, subscribers. Like, subscribe, and any comments on what you would do in a situation like that, or what you have done, or did you not do anything and what happened, what kind of success you had with if somebody overfed them or accidentally dumped a lot of fish food in there, and other things, of course. All right, guys, have a good day.